Welcome to Elton's
Kitchen. Today you'll be witnessing me making beef stew and white rice. So you can follow. First you have to wear your apron. Summer level. You have to wear your apron so to avoid any stains in the kitchen. So just come close and as I take you through my skills.
Okay.
So first I'll have to take you through my ingredients. I have onions, 2 onions. I have hoho here. I have tomatoes, and the spices I'll be using garam masala, paprika, beef masala, and thyme. So first I'll start with cutting my onions. Don't be surprised that I already washed them earlier. So you just cut them into small pieces. So as I cut these onions, I'll also be telling you a few stories here and there. Today I'll be talking about toxic masculinity, and there's been a buzz on the internet like the guys prefer people who have toxic characters, or do they like the ones who are soft? But nowadays they term them as simps, so that is what I'll be discussing today. And there's been an uproar.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at him.
And there is Kibe and there is Americ. So these two guys really have psycho fans out here, and I think they're getting into the minds of young teenagers, of young men, into developing some behaviors so that they can either attract women or so that they cannot be seen as simps. And is being a simp a bad thing? That's my question today, and that's what I'll be discussing today. Like I was saying, I really don't think men should have these toxic characters, because you're actually scaring away these women, these ladies. And as much as the internet says you should have these toxic characters, I don't really think it's healthy. Because one thing, you're not being yourself. Women like men who are themselves and who don't force characters. By the way, who is a toxic person, and when is a person characterized as being toxic? Here we're basing our facts on the male gender. So first, I can say a toxic person is a guy who is two-sided. When they're with their partners, their girlfriend, they tend to show affection, yes, minimal affection though. But when they're outside there with their partners, they tend to treat them as bros. So this is a good thing. Okay, it's not actually a good thing because women love affection. Okay, my beef here, I had already added water to it and it's still boiling. So where was I? As I was saying, women love guys who show affection to them amidst their friends. But these toxic guys don't like to be called. They don't like a girl to be kind of clingy when they're around their friends, because it should make them seem weak among their friends. And guys, toxic guys, don't really like their friends to look down upon them. There's this thing they term as points. So you become a laughing stock if you portray some characteristics of being weak. Maybe ati inaonekana dem amekukalia and stuff. So as in, these toxic guys, at all costs they avoid this, and they forget that this habit makes their lady love them less. Okay, as much as they love them, but ladies are okay. They have, as I'd say, they love affection. So let's come to the other guys who are, okay, I will not say simps as much, but they're soft guys. They don't have these toxic traits. They have this lovey-dovey acts. They will show you affection. Sometimes it may seem as too much affection, but who do girls really prefer? Like, which relationships seem to go far? Is it with the toxic guy or with a guy who shows affection? Okay, there are girls who love the toxic ones, but as much as they love the toxic ones, they also love the ones who show affection. As for me, I think like you should just show affection to your girl. She's your girlfriend, she's your partner. Like, you should just be yourself, and you're not dating these guys. Most guys out here will show like they're toxic and everything, but when they're with their partners, they're actually in serious relationships that actually, yeah, they don't talk about it, but they're really in serious relationships and they don't have those toxic traits. So I'm cutting my tomato here. I prefer them in small pieces. Yeah, so I was waiting for the water to completely dry up. You see, it looks tasty. So I'm just about to add onions and oil. Yeah. Then we just stir this. And add oil. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, so I'll add a bit of salt. Yeah, so as I was saying, most guys at first, their first relationship, they usually prefer these toxic guys, but it reaches a point where they first experience their first heartbreak, their first alliteration, and they see now the true colors of this guy. This guy may perhaps beat them up. They will leave them stranded sometimes, and it is when it dawns on these guys that as much as dating these guys felt fulfilling, because they're macho and because they felt like these guys can protect them, they crave that affection. They crave someone who can be their shoulder to cry on, like who they can tell their problems. But what happens when these guys leave them pregnant, and now they're all around and about wanakimbia, they run away from the responsibility. So this is when these girls are like, okay, this guy is not really a good guy, and they run to the other guys who they term as being simps. And these guys, these simps, they're not actually simps, they're just good guys. And I usually say, like, a guy who is good, it means like they were raised up properly and they were taught how to care for their fellow mates. These guys are social and they are not afraid of showing affection, because I usually say being a real man is being able to show affection. You don't hide behind some funny characters because you want people to see like you're not weak, you're not all this, but actually if you care for someone, it shows like you're strong. If you show affection, it shows like you're actually strong, because you don't really care what other people think. So at all times, I'll always vouch for this, being a good guy than being a toxic guy. Of course, there are some things you're not supposed to do as a guy, because guys maybe will take advantage of you, and that's the problem these good guys face, because you be nice to a girl and they take advantage of that. They know like you can't really, you're a forgiving person. They may cheat on you because they think like, you won't do anything, you just come and we'll talk and we'll sort things out. So okay, there are some disadvantages also of being a good guy. They will always try and be controlling, be manipulating, and I think that's what makes these people turn up as being toxic, because they don't want to be used. So I just add my tomatoes, because my onions are now golden brown. So as you see guys, I've added my tomatoes and they are cooking really well. So now it's time to add my spices. There is, I started garam masala. Just add a good amount. Then there is paprika. I really love paprika. Then I'll add beef masala. So you mix it well. You let the ingredients to cook in it before you can add some water or anything, so it can get the flavor. So the spices have now really blended in with the meat. So it's now time to add water. Thank you. You just add a good amount of water. And then you stir. And let it simmer with the low heat. Remember, we want the taste to feel the taste of everything. So here is when I add hoho, cut them into small pieces. Yeah, so after these girls encounter their first alliteration with their boyfriend, they of course find someone to talk to, and in this instance their friend is a nice guy. Of course, you just have to go to a nice guy, to a person who can really understand you, a person you feel free to talk to about these issues, because apparently a boyfriend, a toxic boyfriend, is nowhere to be found right now and is giving you a cold shoulder. So for instance, she goes to this nice guy. This nice guy, of course, lends her his ears. They talk. This girl feels comfortable talking to him, feels comfortable, feels safe telling her issues to this friend of hers. So now this is the point where this girl thinks. She sits down, she thinks, and she's like, now her preference is changing. She sees the goodness of having a nice guy by you, someone who can listen to you, someone who can really give you good advice, someone who can let you relax, someone who you feel safe around being around with. So these girls, like, they're like, okay, this guy is a nice guy, this guy really gets me, like I can tell him my problems and he's not judging, he's just being him. And for some reason this girl feels attracted to this nice guy, and before you know it, her preference has changed. The guy becomes the shoulder to lean on, and something might spike from that, and yeah, the preference changes, and this guy now finds a girl who now really loves her. And that's why we see like these nice guys win at the end of the day, because it's about being nice, it's about being understanding, it's about being a human to your fellow human, and that's not really a bad thing. So this Nini has to stop, this debate has to stop between being a toxic guy and between being a good guy, because the good guy always wins. Okay, the toxic guy, for some reason he might encounter his or her problems, being the good guy, being the nice girl, because maybe this other girl or this other guy, before they know the value of you, they'll make you go through some manipulation, and you'll have your own tribulations, and yeah, it will make you think like, should I really continue being good? Does it really pay off? That's why you find like actually the toxic guys apparently are guys who are hurt, because for some, I don't want to mention names, but I'll give an example. Like, for instance, there's this guy. So this guy, let's give him a name. Let's call him Pot. So apparently Pot, a while back, he had a wife, a loving wife, and for some reason, I don't know what happened in between there. For some reason, the wife cheated. This made Pot really angry, and it led to him having now these traits. Like, is there really a need of being a good guy and the ladies still treat you like trash? They still go ahead and cheat on you. So this guy Pot decided to give his fellow man education. In his point of view, you shouldn't be a simp to a lady as much as they seem good or what. You shouldn't always be nice. You should show these characteristics of being macho. They call them macho nowadays. Of being macho, of being not really toxic, but of being tough. Don't let the lady tell you what to do. Don't let him akutembelea ama akunini, like. And he's busy on the internet. He has followers, he has sycophants, other people probably who have experienced these heartbreaks, and I guess that's the reason why a lot of men out here, they have been heartbroken, yes, and that's why they decide on being bad guys. I won't say bad guys, but they decide like they don't trust love, they don't know, they say there's no true love. They say like she's only yours when she's with you. And this is really a bad picture you're portraying to our fellow youth. They grow up not respecting women. They grow up thinking like being soft is actually a bad thing. And this is actually not the case. Like, I feel to be a family guy, you have to be nice. So if we have a lot of these toxic men around here, being breeded around here, like, will there be any good guy around? Will there be friendly guys around, or there just be guys going out with multiple women? And what does this show kids? They grow up knowing like it's okay to have multiple women because they deserve less, and that's really a bad picture. So my call out is to all the men, told the young man, like, just be you, be nice. Like, if you decide you found a nice girl, just be you. If something happens, then she's the problem, you're not the problem. At the end of the day, you're the nice guy and you did what was right. You loved her, yes, and yeah, loving her, she probably needed the love. So don't at all cost, don't try to be the bad guy. Just maintain and yeah, be a good guy, and you'll find your match one day. And yeah, so don't be in a rush. Yeah, by the way, don't be in a rush to get into a relationship. You just find someone you guys can talk, you guys really understand each other, you can be yourself around them, and you'll actually see, like, you just have to be yourself. You don't have to be a bad guy, you don't have to be a good guy, you just have to be yourself. Yeah. So my meat is actually really smelling nice, and in around 10 minutes or so it will be ready. And you'll have to witness, you'll have to see us digging in, of course. So I'll add coriander for garnish. I really love the taste it brings to my food. Yeah. So my meat is almost done. I'll just cover it. Okay. And the secret ingredient, I'll add a bit of thyme. Yeah, and that's just it. Our meat is actually done. Let me give you a view of it. See right there. So this is actually ready. So I just cover it. Yeah. I'll show you in a few minutes as I serve it with my accompaniment. Yeah, in just a little bit of time.
2,000 years later.
So guys, this is the meal I made. Okay, initially I used to use rice, but I decided on ugali because my guy. So I hope you see the meal. It's really delicious. Let's have a bite.
Oh my God!
Wow. As you can see, I outdid myself. So I hope you'll be joining us next time. Feel free to comment down there on what you will wish for me to talk about in our next video. You can also comment on which food you would love to see me prepare. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video and have a nice day.